back to the Intentional Youth Ministry channel. Hey, so honored that you would jump on and take a few minutes to be with us today. Today I want to talk to you about something that is near and dear to my heart. And I really want to talk to you a little bit about what your week looks like. And I guess what I mean by that is I think sometimes our focus in youth ministry becomes so much about pulling off our youth service, right? Our Wednesday night, our Sunday night, pulling off our youth gathering. And listen, I am super passionate about creating intentional environments and experiences for young people. You'll hear me talk about that quite a bit actually here on this channel. If you've read my book, Intentional Youth Ministry, you'll know that I have chapters devoted to talking about that. So I'm very, very passionate about creating incredible experiences and services for our young people to help them engage with God. But I think sometimes we can put so much emphasis on that we kind of neglect the rest of the week. And what I'll tell you is this: after over 18 years of doing student ministry, what I've learned is that what happens Monday through Friday is actually more impactful and more important than what happens on a Wednesday night or a Sunday night or even a Sunday morning. And I would just encourage you to think about, what are you doing Monday through Friday? What does the rest of your week look like? You know, I think about for myself, I know when God called me into full-time ministry, and I felt the call of God on me into full-time ministry, I felt called to pastor young people, right? At the end of the day, God didn't call me to be a youth speaker. He didn't call, I didn't feel like I was called to be a preacher per se. I didn't feel like I was called to be an event planner, but I felt like God had called me to pastor young people. And so guys, if God has called you to pastor young people, then we got to be really intentional about pastoring them. And the truth is, pastoring students can't happen in an hour or two, one night a week. We have to be intentional about pastoring them Monday through Friday, right? Maybe shaping our schedules and our weeks around this idea of pastoring young people. I'll tell you this, I think one of the greatest ways we can do this is to invite young people, invite students to be a part of our life, and invite them to be a part of our leaders' lives, right? Just incorporate them in what we're already doing. I'm super grateful that growing up, I had a youth pastor who, that's exactly what he did. He didn't create these extra events or moments where he could connect with me, but he just invited me to come along and do life with him. He invited me to come with him on a Saturday morning to run to Home Depot and grab painting goods and do some work around the church. He invited me on Sunday afternoons after church to come hang out at his house with him and his family. He was intentional about including me into his life, and because of that, I got to see what it looked like to have a healthy marriage. I got to see what it looked like to have a healthy family. I got to see the way he was behind closed doors a little bit. And for me, that was the most valuable thing in my development and really in my discipleship process. And so I'd encourage you, what does that look like? Are you engaging students throughout the week, including them and incorporating them into your life? I'll never forget, I'll share this quick story with you. For years of doing student ministry, I did middle school ministry for a very long chunk of that time. And I had these incredible student leaders, and I would have them over to the house from time to time, and we would do game nights, and I even used to do like cooking challenges, and we just do all kinds of fun relational things with these young student leaders. And I'll never forget this. One of the young men who was a student leader with me in middle school when he was 12 and 13 and 14, that he was an awesome guy. And after he kind of moved on from middle school and whatnot, I kind of lost track. I think his family, they kind of disengaged from the church for a season, and they were going through some stuff and kind of lost contact. But I'll never forget this. This was really just, I think it was about a year or two ago. Just one night randomly, it's like a Tuesday night, 7 o'clock at night, the doorbell rings. And I go to the door and I'm like, who's ringing my bell at 7 o'clock? And here's this young man on my doorstep. He was the same student leader who had served with me when he was in middle school and been a part of our ministry. He'd been to my house several times. And he's standing on my doorstep with tears rolling down his cheek. And he says, hey, Pastor Matt, I hope it's okay that I showed up at your home. And of course I was like, man, yeah, absolutely, man. Like, what's going on? I haven't seen you in a long time. Like, how's life? What's going on? And he basically went on to share with me that he'd been going through a difficult season. He'd made some really bad choices, that he had a warrant out for his arrest and he was about to be arrested. And he basically said, the first place I thought to come was here. He goes, I remember coming to your house. You know, some days after school, you'd have a car full of middle school guys and we'd come to your house and play the Xbox, or, I remember you'd have us come over to your house as student leaders and we do game nights. And so I remembered where you lived and I didn't know where else to come. So I thought I'd come here. And he showed up on my doorstep, and with tears in his eyes, he said, I'm going through a really difficult time. Would you mind just praying with me? And so right there on my doorstep, 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night, I got to pray with and minister to this young man who is now in his mid-20s. And see, what I'm getting at is it was all because of the investment that I made in him and just pastoring him and incorporating him into my life and into my home all those years earlier. So I just want to encourage you with this. As you're pastoring and loving on young people, great if you have an incredible Wednesday night or an incredible Sunday morning experience. But let's not forget that what happens Monday through Friday is equally, if not greater, when it comes to the importance and the development of the young people that God has entrusted us to pastor. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.